Girl, you know I'm blue. Ooh, 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 I love you. And if you ever leave...
Oh yeah, that one's an instant classic. How about you shut up before somebody hears you and calls out the guard?
True artists are never appreciated in their own time.
Welcome back, everyone. Since September was always a Thief game, I decided to continue that tradition by playing Thief 2X, Shadows of the Metal Age. A fan-made story set during Thief 2, released in 2005 by the Dark Engineering Guild. It plays just like Thief 2, but adds some new items, sound effects, music, and arrow types like ice arrows, flare arrows, and confusion arrows. Because this was made by fans, the voice acting is all over the place. Some were good, some had low quality mics, and there was even a moment where I heard a mouse click.
Off season.
Sure, but I never thought I'd be eating out of trash cans.
Overall, it was a great campaign, on par with Thief 1 and 2. They even created their own mission briefings, and not just using screenshots, but actual art that still matches the same style. On average, each mission took me over an hour to complete, which is probably normal for anyone's first time. For the most part, it was straightforward to find enough loot and complete the main objectives, but there was one mission that I had to look up a walkthrough just to finish one objective. If you do get stuck, the Thief 2X website does have a walkthrough section for every mission and how to find all the secrets if you need the help. Normally for a review, I try to keep it short, like 5 minutes, but I'm going to treat this like a retrospective video. So as usual, we're going to go through the story, so spoiler warning, what I liked and disliked, and any funny or awkward moments that happened to me during my playthrough. Let's go get scared again.
What the Chief? Fudge! It's right behind me. He is on my ass.
Since this was a fan-made mod, you're going to need Thief 2 The Metal Age installed. Then you need to download T2 Fix, and make sure to install the FN program, which is for installing fan-made missions. Then go to download the latest T2X from their website. Then drag it down into the FM's folder. When you launch the Thief 2 FM's program, it'll ask you if you would like to configure an FM archive path. Say yes, then drag the T2X folder into this new folder. Then hit play. It'll install, and you should be good to go. I'll be honest, it took me like 2 hours to figure this out, so I hope it will go more smoothly for you guys as well, but I make no promises and encourage you to look up guides for helping you install this mod. There's no tutorial because it's a fan-made campaign and they assume this isn't your first Thief game. I also decided to play on expert difficulty. Say goodbye to Garrett because we will be playing as Zaya, a woman traveling from a wonderful place that looks like Egypt.
I have to prove my worth, not just to my family, but to myself.
She arrives at the city on a dark, rainy night. Some guy says he will watch her ship for her. Head inside and find her cousin, Cavador.
Cavador! There you are!
Hey, I was just on my way down to the docks. You're early.
I've missed you. It just isn't the same at home.
I've missed you too, Sayer.
I just go by Zaya now. I'm not a kid anymore.
Come on, I'll take you back to my shop.
Yeah, the audio is sometimes a bit off, so you'll have these awkward pauses, but I will excuse it. Since it was probably really tough to script everything and get the timing to match with the animations, just follow him, and after a long walk through the city, he gets attacked by some thugs. Looks like Cavador died, and you need to run past them into this haunted mansion. The thugs are too scared to follow, so head inside and explore around.
Maybe this isn't such a good idea.
You'll see some ghosts appear, which always scared me somehow.
Hey! God. Oh, jeez. Jump scares, man.
Don't worry, no enemies to worry about because you literally have nothing to defend yourself. I was expecting more scary jump scares, but they did a good job with the creepy music. First, go here in the backyard to get the basement key. Glad they highlighted it with some smoke. Then head down and click on this wall. You'll hear a voice giving you advice on how to beat each obstacle. The first one is simple. Don't go down the path that looks like this. Pick the path to the left. Then only step on the wooden spots. Go here to activate this torch to open a secret door. Pull this lever to disable the trap. Now you just need to be patient and wait for the path to reveal itself and dodge these purple arrows. Next is easy. Just crouch under the statues. Then head to the path on the left and find the man that's been speaking to you telepathically. Overall, a great first mission that introduces us to the important characters and sets up the story and motivations for our main character, as well as giving players a reminder of what to expect in this game.
I am Malik. You are in trouble, yes? You come here to seek safe harbor.
Thank you. I don't know what to say.
Say nothing of thanks, but sit a while and tell me of your woes.
We get a cutscene of Zaya unsure about what she's about to commit herself to. She just wants to get her shit back and go home. Malik says she needs to get revenge if she wants to feel whole again. He will teach her the skills she needs to get revenge and kill the thugs that murdered Cavador. She asks if there's another way, but for a moment Malik turns around and his eyes turn black, almost like he's about to lose control, but regains himself. Looks like some foreshadowing. Also, I think they are saying Malak, but I want to say Malik from KOTOR, so I apologize if I keep making that mistake. Eventually, she decides to commit to the training and get revenge for Cavador.
Cavador is dead. I am not. I'll make them pay for what they've done. This greedy, foul city will taste it too.
A whole year passes. Zaya had been training with Malik the whole time, and finally her training is complete and now Malik is sending her to a museum to steal an old book. Of course, on Expert, there is the goal of getting at least 750 loot before finishing. Instead of sneaking in through the front, probably the best way is sneaking over here on the right side, climbing up on these barrels, and climbing the ledges to pick this lock to get inside. Go ahead and sneak around the place to explore, but first, one small change I noticed was some models look fatter, which isn't just for looks.
He looks a little too big to pick up.
That's right, some people you can't pick up at all because they're too fat. So that adds some strategy to the game where I need to be careful when I knock out fat people. To get the sacred totem, you need to go to the basement and flip this switch to lower the gate protecting it. You then need to head up to Mr. Lime's office and find out where the museum purchased the Yawara statue. It's the guard at the bottom of these stairs who also has the key to the office. Read his notes and they mention some smugglers went after Cavador, then find your way back outside. Overall, a great mission, plenty of stuff to steal and explore a pretty big map with lots of enemies to knock out. Which, by the way, has a very brutal sound effect like I'm bashing in their skull. Zaya talks about the notes she read that mentions the smugglers who wanted Cavador dead. So she's going to do some detective work. She should first go and check out Cavador's shop and see if he left any notes as to what he was doing. Malik also gave her an elemental catalyst. It's an item that changes your arrows, so water arrows become ice arrows which freeze NPCs in place for a time. You can attack them without breaking the stun. This is a big map, lots of guards patrolling the streets. In order to get into the market area, just watch what the guard puts into the machine to get the password. You have to stop by a hammer temple to make a key and a lever in order to get where you need to go. Get to the top floor and get into Cadar's store. Use the lever to open a secret door and find Cadar's notes. He says he had some friends that tried to intimidate him and get him to stop smuggling spice from a place called Sunnyport. Explore around the city to get the loot requirement, including some thieves that tried to run outside but got caught. Head back to where you started to finish. Overall, it was a fun and straightforward, as well as well-designed city mission. Saya plans on heading over to Sunnyport and find out more about these smugglers. She's gonna follow some of them to a train station where they will board a train that takes them to Sunnyport. The train was built by the mechanist, but she doesn't have the money to buy a ticket. So either she needs to steal one or sneak onto the train and hide. It sounds nice to give you two different ways onto the train. The mechanists now have the color red like the hammers. I find it interesting they decided to change that. I feel the mechanists want it to be clear that they are separate from the hammers, but I guess at this moment they are still in transition? I'm not really sure. Maybe the developers can comment below and let me know what the reason was for this change. I couldn't find the ticket you can steal, so instead I use an EMP grenade on this camera so I can sneak through this hole, then made my way onto the train. In the last carriage, just hide in this room. Time passes and now the train is moving. Very slowly. But at least these people are having fun. You just need to make your way to the front of the train and just get close enough to confirm the smugglers are still on board. I just use the top of the train to get there and back again without any issue. As long as you time your jumps right, get back to the same train car and room. Time passes again, and now you just need to follow the smugglers from behind. Sometimes they turn around to check if they're being followed, but it's easy to stay in the shadows. When you get here with this guard next to a candy cane, he will attack you and fail the mission. So I tried walking over here, and when he tried to investigate, then headed back, that was my chance to get by him. Otherwise I'm not sure how you can get past him. Wait for this guard to turn and sneak by. Same with the next set of guards. And you win. Overall, a very unique mission with 3 phases to it. It was straightforward, but honestly not much to it. However, the layout of the city will get used again, so I hope you were paying attention. Saya is ready to take her revenge, but she knows killing them won't be enough. So she asked around and decided she's going to sneak into the caves and try to find out more about these smugglers and their base of operations. So you need to sneak in, steal at least 750 loot, find out who's leading them and who's second in command, information on who they are enemies with, and a map of the place. Also, you can't kill or even knock out anyone, so this needs to be done in full stealth. The first objective is easy. You overhear the smugglers really don't like the hammers, so you need to find out more information on the hammers inside the base. There's 2 different entrances to get inside. I went around to this little dock area and climbed up here. The second in command is sleeping in this room. I also was able to find enough loot right away. Then found a map on the wall here. The leader is in this room, but you need to find 2 sets of lockpicks scattered around. One of them is in this tower. Inside Neeson's office is notes about the hammers. Then head back outside. Overall, this was a great mission. Very well designed, and the added challenge of not being seen at all was intense. Though I did use a lot of quick saves because I was not going to try and replay this mission over and over again just for getting spotted. I know some people think save scumming ruins games, but I don't like replaying a mission from the beginning and have to run through everything again like I'm a speedrunner. Zaya talks about breaking into the Hammer Cathedral. She wants to find out how she can use the hammers and get them to attack the smugglers. You'll also need to find out who the High Priest is, steal 1300 loot, and no killing hammers, but knocking them out is okay. I know this wasn't the best idea, but I led these 2 hammers away, eventually losing sight of them, then used the entrance to get inside. I then went to work knocking out hammers. Also, I learned some keys will disappear in your inventory after it was used on the door it was destined for. You'll find a hammer accusing the cook of poisoning the food, and in the cook's journal says it's true, he was hired to try and poison the High Priest. Instead, someone else ended up dying. The High Priest is Cavador from the first game. You save him from the pagans, remember? You'll find a journal talking about an orb, and a library key on the desk. Head to this church room and go downstairs to the library. There's a few priests in there, so just knock them out and take the mausoleum map. Then head back to where you started. Overall, another great mission. Very well designed and lots to explore and many hammers patrolling around to deal with. Zaya talks about the hammers and explains that Cavador sent a group of them to a mausoleum to retrieve the orb of Bosmas, but none have returned. The place is probably crawling with undead. She needs the orb not for its power, but to frame the smugglers. You also need to find what's left of the Hammerite Onam, take at least 900 loot, and find the elemental crystal. If you like that crypt mission from the 3rd mission in Thief Gold, then I think you will love this mission. I did get very confused on where I needed to go. Many times I found myself running in circles. It's pretty easy to get lost. First thing I will say is explore the entire map as best you can. I even collected these 4 pieces of bones but never used them because I don't know where the puzzle is for them. There's plenty of zombies around and this time they are a bit different. Now you can just cut their arms and head off to basically disable them. They will continue to wander around but never be a threat to you. Except maybe get in your way, especially in doorways. Just watch out for their gross vomit attack. Enter this church and ride the elevator down. You'll find yourself in a crypt, and just look around until you find this room. I would recommend climbing up here to find this hole and find the elemental crystal at the end. Then activate this switch to open the gate. You'll find Onam's dead body, and notes he left behind. You need to find the key to get inside. I got stuck wandering around for like 45 minutes until I found the key hiding here. This room has 3 colored skulls. You need to pick up the right one, otherwise you get sent here and fight some zombies. Then get teleported back. The key was placed under the skull, so I think they needed a better way of showing that because the only way I found it was when I decided to mess around and climb random stuff and happened to see it. Now head back to Onam's body and unlock the door to enter a tower. Watch out for these statues because they will attack you if seen. There's also these undead skeletons patrolling around. Very creepy sounding. Get to the top and grab the orb. Jump out the window, and assuming you've completed all the other objectives, you can make your way back to the start to win. Overall, it was another great, well-designed mission with a great creepy atmosphere. And exploring was fun and solving some of the puzzles, but there's still a puzzle I didn't finish, so I hope you guys can solve it unlike me. I also think they should work on making that key more visible or lighting up the room and having the key drop on the floor so players can at least see it easier. Zaya plans to sneak into the smuggler's candy shop to frame them. She also needs to head over to the cathedral and drop off a note in Cavador's office so they know to go and investigate the smugglers. That's right, they put 2 different maps into one like a giant city you can move through. You can decide which to start with, but make sure to be extra careful with the smugglers because you can't be seen or harm them in any way. But the city folk and hammers are expendable. Also, you need to steal 650 loot, which doesn't sound like much, but it was the last objective I had to complete, which involved me running back to the cathedral twice and find that last bit of loot I missed. I started with the hammers, but you don't re-explore the same areas as before. There's now a different area you get to see, and first you need to use the sewers to get inside. Head upstairs and drop the note. Then get back outside by distracting these guards, or use a confusion arrow to kill off one of them and open the gate.
Builder himself guides my bow.
Then head over to the other side of the map and take out these torches to sneak into the candy shop and plant the orb in this chest downstairs. Then head back to the apartment. Overall, a decent mission. I appreciate how big it is, but I think a few more houses I could sneak into would have made this even better, and maybe some funny dialogue to make this more memorable. Zaya first talks about her memories as a kid, and now looks forward to the carnage that's about to begin. She will follow the hammers in as they attack the smugglers. She also wants to see if the smugglers have her ship. This is a straightforward mission. It felt like a repeat of Thief 2 where we repeat the same exact level. I think it works better here because it's under different circumstances. Hear me out. In Thief 2, Mission 13, Casing the Joint, you explore the mansion but only the first and second floors. After finding what you needed and stole what loot you needed to then get back out, the next mission is the exact same, but the only thing added was the third floor. It's different, right? Well, not really. In my opinion, not enough to call it a whole separate mission. Here in Thief 2X, it's much simpler. You do re-explore the same map and watch the pockets of violence going on. Some might be bored by this, especially on repeat playthroughs, but I did have to kill whoever was left standing, even this hammer that walked into the river and drowned himself. The reason for this mission is to advance the story, so it seemed like the developers knew that players might be bored of repeating this same mission, so they didn't want to force you to look into every nook and cranny for loot again. So they made that optional and just needed you to look around and watch stuff happen, like this guy getting blown up by a cannonball. Get inside and check to make sure Neeson and his second-in-command Grimsam are dead. Then check for any useful notes in Neeson's office. In the notes, it mentions Sheriff Truer, yes, the same character from Thief 2, and his diary he has with him. It also mentions that Kadar may also be alive.
Kadar, could you still be alive? I've got to get out of here.
When you're done, head to the docks, take out the hammer, and get on your ship to sail away. Overall, a simple and straightforward mission with some funny moments. Zaya talks about the notes she found at the smuggler's base. It mentions Sheriff Truer and how he visits a brothel and brings a diary with him. This mission is pretty straightforward. Find a way inside, find Truer's diary, steal 1400 loot, and some special loot in the basement's vault. It's a pretty big brothel to explore. And yes, there are naked ladies inside. I'm sure back in the day this would have gotten a lot of men off, if you know what I mean. I even walked into a room while some love making was going on. To get the key for the gambling vault, the key is over here by this pet lizard. It apparently somehow ate it and pooped it out. To get to Truart, you need the hall key, but it's in the office. And that needs the office key, which the fat lady has. So find her in the basement, knock her out, take the key, find the office, get the hall key, sneak into Truart's room, read the diary. A passage says Cavador was given to Truart because he was looking for vagrants and street scum. If you remember Thief 2's story, you already know where this is going. Cavador was turned into a servant and was given back to Truart, but Cavador was annoying because he kept saying something like sire, but I think he was trying to say Zaya. So Truart gave him away to a man named Mr. Finkel at the Grand Hotel. Once all your objectives are complete, get back out. Overall, it was an enjoyable mission. I had fun stealthing around into different creepy fantasies people had, like this monkey man in a forest room, and a torture chamber, and even a Hammerite temple bedroom? We get a cutscene of Malik taking Zaya somewhere. She asks him if Cavador is some kind of slave now, but Malik says he is worse than a slave and shows her a vision from some pool. It's a gruesome scene like you'd see in a horror movie. Cavador is getting his skull drilled into and a mask gets put on his face. Zaya is sad at what she saw. Malik says this is what will happen to anyone that stands in Truart's way. He cannot stop him alone, but he knows she can stop him.
I can bring him here and we can remove the servant mask.
Yes, bring Cavador here. The mask means death for most, but with your skill, there may yet be a way to save him.
Zaya makes her way to the Grand Hotel and plans on finding Cavador and getting him out. She'll need to look for information on where he might be. It's a very big map, lots to explore on 2 floors and later the basement. I would check every room first. Find this blackmail note in the accounting office upstairs. The key is on the guard nearby. And then disable the power to the lobby. Then take out this mechanist robot to get to the lobby and grab this key to get into Mr. Finkel's room. Don't knock him out or kill him like I did the first time. You're supposed to run at him and talk to him. It says Zaya holds up the blackmail note to him, but after threatening to blackmail him for all the debt he's acquired, he reveals Cavador was sent downstairs to work in the basement, after Cavador had an incident in one of the rooms. He gives you the key to the basement, then suddenly has a heart attack.
Oh, my heart! Oh.
I'm not joking. In his diary it mentions his heart can't take much more of the stress he's having. So head downstairs and avoid all the mechanist robots. Eventually you'll find a servant down there and knock it out. When you pick it up, it'll say Cavador. Hopefully you have enough loot, that way you can take him straight back out to where you started. Overall, another great mission. I used more arrows and equipment on this mission than any thief mission. Not because it was hard, but I am one of those players who will hold on to equipment for as long as I can just in case, but here there were many situations that called for it. Zaya carried Cavador back to Malik's castle. Cavador has regained consciousness, but he's not the same. While Zaya was off on her journey, Malik was studying that old book Zaya got for him from Mission 2. He says there might be a way to cure Cavador. Malik says it lies in an old hospital that's been boarded up after the undead had risen and took it over many years ago. The people that ran it were some kind of healers from a religion that was from a faraway land. They had an artifact that looked like a set of scales that can cure any disease. We get to what I expected to be just like the Haunted Cathedral or Shale Bridge Cradle. Unfortunately, it just wasn't as scary as both of those.
I think that would have been scarier.
I never really got scared. Okay, once during that fight with the two skeletons.
Whoa! Whoa! That scared me!
I'm just glad you aren't helping a ghost like the other two. So, when you arrive at the hospital, Zaya mentions the symbol on the hospital looks like the deity she served back home. But here they use a different name. Turns out the healers worship the same deity as Zaya, but had to change the name so the hammers didn't try to kill them for being heretics. There's a diary at the gate. Read it if you want to learn more. Then activate the wheel on the right. Floating heads will spawn, so watch out for those because they shoot ranged attacks at you. You now have a new objective of reading 3 diaries to find out what happened at the hospital. They are located here, then climb to the top of this tower, then climb up here, then down here to the other tower for another diary entry. Also, grab the gemstone in that chest. It's part of another objective. And the last one I found was here. Then the last objective I needed was the other gemstone. I searched everywhere and couldn't find anything. So I read the walkthrough and eventually found the lever to open this secret door.
But man, you guys decided to hide it over here? Wow.
I get it, they tried to hide it, but I think it needed to be somewhere else, or maybe use a book on a bookshelf as a secret lever kind of thing, because players will only stumble on this by accident. Anyway, I could finally make my way back outside to finish. Overall, it was a decent mission with a creepy atmosphere, but not on par with Haunted Cathedral or even Cradle. But still, it was a decent attempt at a horror level. We get a cutscene of Zaya returning with the scales. Malik comes downstairs and instructs her what to do next. She holds the scales out and something appears to happen. Suddenly, an explosion knocks her back and Cavador is gone. Malik tells Zaya to seek revenge and go kill Truart, but she thinks all of this was in vain. So Malik takes the scales and summons a beast creature. He then makes a portal and tells it to go and kill Truart. This is it. We need to find a way to stop Malik and the creature he summoned. You jump into the portal and watch the creature awkwardly jump off Truart's balcony. You even hear the guard that says,
Truart's been murdered! Find the killer!
This was very clever to tie this story into Thief 2's story without affecting the main Thief story too much. As far as I can tell, there's no safe way to jump down without taking damage, but just run through the hole in the wall and it will seal behind you. There's a wounded pagan here that asks you to finish what he was sent here to do. Read the note from Victoria and it explains that Malik used to be a leader with the pagans, just like Victoria. But he was too ambitious and was gaining too much power that Constantine then ordered him to be banished. By the time they realized they weren't strong enough to kill him, and only the Woodsy Lord himself would have to be the one to do it, that's when Garrett killed the trickster. So Malik grew stronger in exile, learning more powerful magics. He even tried to kill Truart, but they got the better of him and that's how he got blinded in one eye. They discovered Zaya was doing Malik's work, so Victoria tried to send this pagan to try and stop him while she prepares to meet with Garrett to deal with Karis. You'll discover some notes about Malik. He thinks the Woodsy Lord chose him to carry out his deeds. Just follow the linear path and take out the pagan monkeys and spitter monsters patrolling the area. You'll find more notes from Malik about Zaya's journey. He was using her grief to get what he wants, and he needed her specifically because of the deity she worshipped. Only someone of that faith could use the scales to sacrifice a person in order to summon the powerful creature he now has control over. Just keep on going and take out more enemies, then find one last journal from Malik and how he's going to return the pagans as the new rulers and will destroy the city to return everything to a natural state. This is starting to sound just like Thief 1's story. Head down the tunnel and this is the final area. You have 2 monkeys with swords, Malik, and the creature to defeat. The 2 monkeys are easy if you decide to use confusing arrows. The beast is invulnerable and will wreck anything in front of it. Malik uses spells and looks like he can heal himself. After many experiments, I eventually figured out what I needed to do. First, distract Malik and the beast, then jump down and grab the scales. This will free the beast from Malik's control. As long as it doesn't see you, it will attack and kill Malik for you. Then just throw the scales into the lava pool and the beast dies. Overall, I thought this was a much better boss fight than any Thief game. Definitely way better than Thief 1, if you can even call it a boss fight. The final cutscene shows two keepers asking if they should recruit Zaya, but the other says no. Their plans revolve around the One, meaning Garrett. They say some other cryptic and philosophical stuff, but at the end, they said all that happened was written in the glyphs, because of course it was. Zaya sails off into the sunrise. In conclusion, Thief 2X is an awesome fan-made mod. If you are a fan of any Thief game, and especially Thief 1 and 2, then I highly recommend you figure out how to get it working and play it for yourself. This was carefully made by fans of the Thief games, and they knew how to design great levels to play on, with some creative puzzles that for the most part weren't too difficult to solve or find the secret switch somewhere. I do hope these developers found work in the gaming industry because this mod really shows how great they are. Next month is Halloween, so it's time for another horror game! I hope you'll come back to see me suffer. Thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed the video. Please like and subscribe to help grow my channel and comment below on what you thought. I'm also on the Time Pals podcast over on Spotify. Links in the description. Thanks again, and I'll see you in the next video.